it's pretty much the same. You put the flour on the table, make a little well in the center. Okay, and then you're going to put the egg in there. Break that up. This is your acid. Okay, a little bit of acid and a little bit of clarified butter.
What was the acid?
It could be anything. It's just acid. It's all that really matters. Okay, and then what you do is you start bringing in the flour into the center with the fork. Okay, and you want to try to not lose the walls so that the egg doesn't go all over the place. And what you're going to do is, as you're bringing this in, and this is getting thicker, you've got a half a cup of water here as well. And you're going to add that slowly and continue to bring this in. Okay? And you're going to do this until you get all the water in. You probably won't use all the flour, okay? And you're just going to keep doing this until all the water has been used and you get to the point where you can actually, you can take over, that you can actually knead the dough. And again, you probably won't use all the flour. And then you're just going to knead the dough for about 10 minutes. And then when he's done, I'll bring it around so you can see what the dough looks like. It's going to be very different because it's not a yeast dough. So just keep bringing flour into that.
You're probably not going to use all that flour?
You're probably not. Usually you don't. But you are going to use all the water. You want to make sure you get all the water in. Okay? And then as much flour as you need to get a workable dough. Okay? And that's it. I don't want to be like this. Okay? You guys don't want to be down here, so we got to find an even spot because I want to be able to see the dough, you know, while it's being stretched. The other thing that always happens, and I don't know why, is people start to drift, and all of a sudden I'm doing this, and somebody is on the other side of the table over here like this. So we try to keep it centered over the table. Okay, we're going to slowly pass it to the right as we're going. Sometimes we get tears. That's okay. They usually happen on the edge. If we get a tear when that part comes to you, don't stretch anymore. Just pass it. So stop stretching the dough if there's any place it gets a hole. All right. Usually it happens a lot. We're going to cut off the edges anyway. It doesn't really matter. We just don't want to make it bigger. Okay. So everybody, pick it up. Stick your hands underneath like this. All right. Now, what we're going to do is pull and pass it to the right. Pull. Gently from the center. Okay. Okay, the center's pretty good. Now start working on the edges more. Okay. Okay.
Wow, that happens pretty fast.
I told you.
Yeah.
If it's a good dough, it's going to happen really fast. So work on the edges now. Because the center, we don't want that to go. Stay away from the center now. Just work on the edges.
The edges are harder to work on.
Yeah. You can kind of pull those a little bit gently. But we're almost there anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to put it on the table and finish it on the table. Okay, let's put it down. See how big it is. All right, now just kind of gently pull so it comes over the edge. Okay, just keep pulling. That's okay. That. A little bit more there. Just a little bit more there. All right, that's it. Told you that would happen fast.
It's like a rubber glove consistency almost.
Well, but now everybody touch this. It's cool and wet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can see it's much thinner here than it is here because this is more yellow. Don't worry about it. We're going to cut this all off anyway. It'll be fine. But what you have to do is you're going to touch it. When it starts to lose that cool dampness, you're going to brush it with the clarified butter. Now, you're not going to brush it all at once because like this area is much thicker. That's going to be the last area to dry. This is probably going to be the first area to dry. And eventually what you want to do is have the whole thing covered with clarified butter. Then we have to move very quickly, and then we'll need help again because what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle the breadcrumbs, and we'll put a line of his filling, his apple filling here, and then we're going to roll it up. As we roll it up, each turn, each roll, we have to brush off the flour that's underneath. So one person has to come with a dry brush and brush off the flour, and a person has to come behind with a wet brush and brush the clarified butter so that it doesn't dry up and get crumble into nothing. Okay? So now you're just going to babysit the dough. And it's still pretty damp. So this is going to take a few minutes. Okay? Yeah, it's still pretty wet. But that's why one of the reasons it's stretched so readily. It was easy to stretch. So, isn't that cool? It's very
Yeah.
cool. Yes.
Really interesting. I can imagine that doing it by yourself. If it's
You
hard.
can,
Yeah.
if you put it on the table, you kind of have to walk around the table, you know, and do it. You can do it, but it's much easier to do it with a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these, 4 people is a nice number.
Like you could also do like smaller versions of your
Yes, yes. Yeah. So you can do it by yourself, it's just easier if you have help.
Just feel lonely if you do it by yourself.
Well, that's true.
My friend.
That's true. All right.
And when you're turning, you brushing off flour and not putting any more butter on it?
Yes, that's why I said one person is brushing off flour, the next person is coming behind with the butter. That's why we need 2 people, that's why we need 2 brushes. One for the dry and one for the wet.
This could be like an Olympic event or something. Team Strudel.
Yeah. Well, again, you can do this by yourself, but it's
Yeah, it's just much more
It's-
labor intensive.
right. And you have to work fast. Face it each other's way. Oh, here, wait a minute. Let me show you. Let me give you the picture.
And that's a crazy thing.
Yeah, it really is. I'm from tearing it every stroke.
You barbarian.
Okay, somebody else will roll the next one. I'll be right back.
I'll give it a roll, Mike.
Fucking open me, man. Dude, don't put that pressure on me. You don't put that on me.
Don't tear it.
It's my strudel.
Don't-
Alright, so do
No, use the tablecloth to do it.
And just like flop it over.
Yeah, let the
Gently
tablecloth
flop it
sort
over.
of just flop it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, wider.
Okay, just pick it up. Just push. Just let it flop over. Push. There you go. That's all.
Don't want to use my strudel.
This is like curling a little bit, you know?
Someone want to take over? I've got.
So let's just get the bottom last little bit. That's good. Yours is going to be folded in. It's going to be short and squat.
Okay.
Because I try to contain that filling. Never works, but. So let's flip this back. Now what we're going to do. Yeah. Put that stuff down. Take that and work it underneath. And we're going to move it over here diagonally. This. Right. Then twist the ends.
Is greasing the pan necessary?
No.
As
You've
you
greased
said,
the
but
product.
Yeah, I was
You've greased the product. So.
Maybe we should stuff some butter in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just some steam holes. All right, and you're ready to go in the oven.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.